something already.
Yeah, he's just looking around like there's something wrong.
What's a smoothie?
He forgot a smoothie again.
Smoothie again, yeah.
Can someone get me a smoothie?
Yeah. It's not a good sign when you're already feeling a bit flustered, a bit disturbed, and the game has only just started. You might as well just make your move, Hans. Just get through the opening, unleash your preparation, and then start thinking.
Both...
Very strange.
Yeah.
Very strange. He's spending time and...
Need that time for later.
Yeah, this position. He should obviously know about.
Yeah, Anish will be feeling confident the longer that Hans thinks right now.
Yeah.
And, I mean, the arbiter is in the room. If there was something, she would be over there immediately. So maybe it's just, is it the position, is the situation? This doesn't look
This is one
strange.
of the most well-known positions in chess, I guess, in the opening at least. Black has a bunch of moves here. You can choose from 3, 4, 5 very logical, very common moves. It can't be chess reasons that are making Hans slow down now. Is the mouse frozen? Is the screen frozen?
I think he'd be gesturing more, wouldn't he, if there's something completely wrong. Maybe he's just picking his music. You know, maybe he's thinking this is a big game. I can't lose. What song do I need to listen to?
Some energy. He doesn't look as pumped up as we're used to seeing.
No, because he can't lose this game. OK, well, maybe...
Here we have it.
He's off,
And he's picked up the b-pawn, and this opening is called the Queen's Indian. And Anish also reacts in the most principled way, which is to develop the light-squared bishop.
Yeah, so very standard stuff. The reason I guess it's called the Queen's Indian, it's on the Queen side and you're fianchettoing a bishop. Normally, these types of Indian openings, the King's Indian is fianchettoing the bishop on the other flank of the board. Meanwhile, a bunch of moves here that white can choose. I know...
This is the one I play, actually. I think it's a very good chance to get an advantage, this rookie one, currently, with the theory. And I'm just trying to think of the trendy move now. Is it A3? I think A3 might be the sort of current move to play, even, because, you know, you're kind of asking, he's played it A3. Okay. So, yeah, just basically, Black's moved the knight. Where are you going to move that knight next? I'm just gonna shut it down and wait and see how you're going to develop. And if Black wants to go really solid, he can move the pawn in front of the queen 2 squares. But there's a lot of ways Black can go wrong here. If you move the pawn next to that 1, 2 squares, what's he going to go for?
Just shuffles his queen across 1 square.
OK.
This is just kind of waiting moves, waiting passive,
I think
patient chess.
I had this in Reykjavik. That's why I remember just doing a bit of preparation. I remember it looked just really nice variation for white.
It's just that pawn centre. You have a bit more space.
Yeah, and you might be able to go... The one thing that white generally avoids doing in these positions is going knight c3 too early, which we can show. I don't know if it's a move now, because you want to avoid exchanging pieces, and if you move the knight out now, it allows Black to play his knight in, and the exchange of pieces makes Black's position a bit more comfortable because he's more cramped, and that's why the knight stays at home. So there's many ways that white can try and improve his position without moving that knight. You can maybe move the queen. I mean, you can even think about some, you know, pawn sacrifices. But I think there's even moving the queen side pawn 2 squares doesn't look stupid to me.
It's very tempting here.
It does.
I mean, that black knight on the side of the board looks kind of ridiculous, right? Yeah. That's one of the issues with this system for Black.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I did want to point out for white, that is, if Black hadn't played that queen move and instead had actually tried to challenge the centre with c7, c5.
That's what I had in Reykjavik, Ivanka.
Yeah, did you do it? Did you go for it, Simon?
Just play d5 is just a very good move where white's just clearly better, basically, I think.
Don't need to ask Ivanka. Simon will push his pawn to this square.
Excellent.
Any opportunity.
I love getting my pawn there.
But this is the move I wanted to highlight, because after pawn takes pawn, you can actually...
You move the... Yeah, I mean...
move the knight.
And you don't even sacrifice a pawn here. That's the thing. It's not even a sacrifice. Yeah. Can you get your knight to this gorgeous square in Black's king? And I had this and my opponent, I think, played knight e4, but this is a very nice line for white, basically. So, but
Hans avoided this.
Yeah, and queen c8, David, it seems a bit passive.
Yeah.
I mean, what would you play here? I mean, b4 looks so logical, right? I mean, that'd probably be...
Very tempting.
Yeah.
But there might be other decent options as well.
I was thinking...
OK, so he has played this, so I'm a bit surprised by that.
I was slightly tempted to suggest this as well. I know Black always meets this with the threat of a knight exchange, but this is very similar to other lines anyway, where kind of Black's knight is still back on its starting square, Black's queen is still on its starting square, the other main line, and normally white here puts his bishop on this square, and he's not afraid of giving up the 2 bishops. So if there's a knight trade, white's bishop stands great on this square. If the knight captures the bishop instead, then at least now white is ready to throw all the pawns forward in the center. And yeah, it's a slightly different take on one of the main lines, at least. So I'm assuming this is what Giri wants to do. The one thing you don't necessarily want to do is, for example, if you make a move, you don't want to allow these doubled pawns because they are potentially weak later in the game, especially in an endgame. So I think Giri, especially having allowed this potential knight exchange, I think he's just going to stop that from happening, either by moving his bishop forward or by maybe moving his queen to protect his knight.
Yeah. The other thing I wanted to mention is that after knight takes, say, white were to play knight takes knight, bishop takes knight, it's so difficult to dislodge that bishop from this beautiful square without offering a trade of your own bishops. So
that's why, I mean, white generally holds back, because it wasn't a threat for black's knight to go in there when you had the knight on its starting square. That wasn't something you have to worry about. But as David says, you know, you can't play this line. It's just maybe there's another useful move that you can do. Even h4 has been played by Sargsyan, I think, in this kind of position.
These players, it's very trendy to push the pawn here.
Yeah, just to support some jumps with your knight on the king side. Just ask, you know, black, what are you going to do next?
It's basically a fight for this central square. If white can push his pawn forward, he's doing great. He has 3 great pawns in the center of the board. If black can stop that, as he's doing right now by blockading this square, then he tends to be doing okay. So Evaluation Bar likes white. I think we all would choose white here, but it's just a fight for this central outpost. And he does indeed play the typical type of move, putting his bishop.
I'm impressed with Hans being on more than 14 minutes on the clock after spending, what was it, 1.5 minutes on the first move. He must have planned something. Is he definitely in his opening prep here?
Well, I just checked the database here, and he actually had a game in this particular variation in 2021. And that game actually continued with white trading knights. So he is familiar, Hans is certainly familiar with this particular position, and the result, Hans won, of course.
Yeah. Was that an online blitz game, by any chance?
It's difficult for me to see.
Okay. Yeah, because I know a lot of online blitz games now go on the database, and it's maybe something that Hans played once or twice in his life, but maybe not having put too much work into it. At least when I've played this opening as black, it's just to kind of survive the opening. It's not necessarily because you want to equalize immediately. You just want to keep pieces on the board. You want to kind of pose these questions to white. How are you going to occupy the center? Okay, it looks like white's getting everything he wants. And now, big question, what does black do with his knight in the center of the board?
But do you then think, David, spending that 1.5 minutes on the first move, he was thinking back to that game that he won?
Maybe.
And trying to recall how he won it?
Yeah, maybe it was, well, just... I know he had a bit of a break before this game, but maybe he was undecided. Do you play for a win with black? Do you just keep it solid with black now and then try and win with white in the next game? I guess it's not kind of the most aggressive winning attempt, but this type of opening, it is played by players who are quite ambitious as black, who want to just maintain the tension. And yeah, it's just a typical position now, this last move. Simon, you'll like that maybe, as a Dutch player?
I do like it, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I love pushing this pawn when I got the black pieces, but I just really don't like black's knight on the, you know, we have this saying on the side of the board, knights on the rim are dim, knights on the side fall off. I mean, there's loads of sayings about that knight. If I can move that knight back, I'd probably be tempted to move it back now, actually, and just try to get it towards the centre, because otherwise it's doing nothing, you know. Yeah. But if I can move it like across to f6, for example. Yeah. Okay, but still, I mean, these are all common moves that black's playing here, and at least black's got the central square, right, in the middle, you know, controlling the middle of the board.
You're right. I mean, black's queen is slightly misplaced, maybe. Black's knight on the edge will fall off the hedge. Yeah.
Fall off the hedge. There you go. Yeah, no, it's a good word.
But
fall off the ledge.
Fall off the ledge. Yeah, that's better.
And well, okay, now it's a critical moment in the game because Anish just pushed forward with his pawn in the center, and now all the connection that black had with the knight on e4 has been broken. To me, this is very thematic. This looks good, but I guess you have to now start to crunch the numbers and see whether it's actually a good idea or not.
Yeah. And this is kind of a typical pawn push. You want to gain space, you want to clamp down on squares, you want to block out black's light squared bishop, but yeah, I'm slightly surprised Giri played it so quickly, because it does make sense, as you mentioned there. of some of Black's pieces. Black's knight on the edge. It has a way off that ledge. But, OK, Hans, this is a critical moment, so he should slow down now. This is where you should spend your time, not necessarily on move 3. Yeah, he'll be calculating already.
And this is the only match that can be decided in this round 3. If Anish wins it, he will win the match. It's not a must-win situation for Hans, but he has to win either this one or the next game to take it to tiebreaks. In the other matches, Magnus Carlsen and Liam Le, 2 draws. They are tied after 2 games. Magnus now sitting there with the white pieces, and I bet he is trying to find a way to win this game 3. And Liam Le, he probably will be happy with a draw with the black pieces and fighting for a win in game 4. Pragnananda and Levon Aronian, also 2 draws. They're also tied. Prag with the white pieces here, thinking hard, and is the bar already all the way over to his side?
Yeah, I mean, I just took a peek over at that game. There's 2 things I want to mention. One, that Aronian chose an opening, the Grunfeld defense, that he's not a specialist in, but Prag is known as the Grunfeld slayer. He wins nearly every game as white in that opening. I've seen him win dozens in great style as well. And the second thing I want to point out, Aronian's just fallen into an opening trap. It's maybe not the most well-known one, but Prag is deep in his preparation. Aronian, I think it's his move right now, but look at him, he's just sitting back thinking, what have I done? Am I really in trouble now? Or maybe he doesn't even realize how much trouble he's in. But yeah, the computer thinks that white is already winning after, what is it, about 12, 13 moves.
Whoa!
So, Prag, if he takes that opportunity, continues his good form against the Grunfeld defense, then Aronian is going to be in big trouble.
Huge trouble for Levon Aronian early in game 3. Wow, we'll keep a close eye on that. Jan-Christoph Duda and Alireza Firouzja, they have one game each and are tied. Their game 3 will start shortly. Or has started. Just started. Probably. Yep.
They're racing to catch up with the others.
Yeah. Firouzja, he won the first game, but he lost the second. So what will happen in game 3 between these 2? But we're following Giri and Niemann because this can be decided in this round 3. And the bar, I have to say, it's way over to Anish's side right now.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but I just love what's happened for the white side. I'm a bit worried now about Niemann's chances, sorry, just because a couple of things have gone wrong. Firstly, there's a nasty pin, white's bishop on the same diagonal as the black queen. The centre will open to white's favour. Also, black's knight still on the edge of the board. If he doesn't move it now, white will push the b-pawn forward and lock it out of the game.
Looks horrible.
It does look really bad.
Bishop as well, misplaced.
Totally. 2 pieces that aren't working, and I mean, it also looks like those pawns on the right side are just going to start falling apart, and black's king is also going to be vulnerable.
Yeah, I mean, you're just winning a pawn. I mean, generally, I'm a big fan of black's pawns. You know, when you get them like that, the one in front of the bishop, the one next to the bishop. I like having those pawns. They've got a lot of potential, but only when you can do something with them. And they're just gonna drop here. And look at black's pieces on the queen side. It's not just that knight; it's the bishop as well, right? The bishop is just looking at a brick wall. It's not doing anything at all. There's so many problems with black's position.
Yeah, I guess his idea after pawn takes pawn is to slide his bishop back. He's just done this, so at least he's improving one of those bad pieces, Simon. But you're right. I mean, it just looks horrible. At least he has a pin on this diagonal, so he's a pawn down temporarily, but eventually he wants to win this pinned pawn back. White can't play pawn takes pawn, for example, because his bishop would fall. So 2 moves immediately come to mind. What is Giri about to play here? He's not moving on his screen yet, but 2 moves come to mind for me. One, you actually defend the pinned piece, for example, with your king. Next move, you're just hinting that maybe you'll jump out the way, capture a pawn. If you kind of win a pawn, if you can somehow win that pawn and establish your knight on this beautiful outpost in the center, you're just winning immediately. So this would maybe be the most ambitious move in the position. If that doesn't work, or if it doesn't appeal to step your king forward, then another idea at some point would be to step this pawn forward and lock out this knight on the edge. I mean, it's just such a bad piece. And one bad piece, as we know, makes a position bad. Yeah, it looks great for white, but Anish needs 1 or 2 accurate moves.
Yeah. And both those moves were on my radar. I must say, I'm such a materialist. I was drawn to defending the bishop and trying to get away with grabbing as many pawns as I can. But yeah, this just looks great.
Yeah, I guess Black's idea maybe is to kind of reinstate the pin, just bring the queen forward, meaning that White still is tied down on this diagonal. I mean, I'm just clutching at straws here for Niemann. I mean, you need to keep the game alive somehow. But Anish, he's even more materialistic than us, Jovanka. Instead of pushing his king forward, he actually ruins his own pawn structure. He pushes his pawn forward, defending his own pawn. And after a capture, a trade here, White just has this stronghold. I mean, it's more about this square in the center of the board for one of the two white knights. Both knights can occupy it, and it's just a glorious square.
Wow.
White's king is just going to shuffle to the corner where it's completely safe and looking good for Giri.
Looking good for Anish Giri. Now, David, as everyone knows, he is our very own individual gold medalist from the Olympiad in Chennai. And the Chess24 team actually has another medalist from the Olympiad, Tanya, commentating on another stream. She took the individual bronze medal in Chennai, and she's actually also in Miami, Sverre.
She is. I'm actually going to have to speak quite low right now because I'm on her terrace. And she is doing the commentary on the GM feed together with Peter Leko. But have a look at this. Let's actually, let me lower my voice and show you what is one of my favorite shoots that we can actually get here. Because right here, behind me, we have Tanya doing the commentary. And she tends to get extremely excited when she's doing it. She stands up, she is yelling, and she goes excited.
Yeah,
Hey! And
this would be a little chance for us to move somewhere, but on the other hand, one feels like, you want to look at this.
Peter, we've got company here. We're joined by the Oslo studio. Hey, guys.
Wow.
He's the man behind all those interviews, by the way. Chat wants to know, we want to know, do we get another Hans interview today?
We're hoping so, definitely. So I guess I'm talking to both the broadcasts right now, but any Hans interview is bound for a good day. But we want to see our top commentator sitting here in her right element.
Well, this is what it looks like. So we've got our chat and our game window here, and this is our broadcast. And a very big moment here because Lev looks like he's in big trouble. He's managed to get his queen trapped on a5. We're trying to find the right way ahead for Prague here. This is a big game, Sverre.
As you can see, they are now following also the Lev game, who is in big trouble.
Absolutely. Chess24 got you all covered. If you are a grandmaster and want to deep into the positions with a lot of notations, then Tanya and Peter got you covered. In this one, in this studio, we're taking it down a little bit. Beginners like me, we need the slower approach to the game and deep dive into the position without too many notations, at least. Anish Giri, bar over to his side. If he wins this game, he will win his first match. Is it getting closer, David?
He's getting closer. I'm not liking his clock time, Anish Giri. It looks like he's a bit hesitant.
Yeah.
Maybe just the nerves of having struggled in this tournament, just getting closer to the finishing line, slowing him down slightly. That's what I do, at least. When I'm on the verge of a big victory, I get nervous, I tense up. But yeah, on the board, he's doing all the things right. Maybe now is the time to lock out that black knight from the game. You could also make an argument for White's rook just sliding across to the open g-file. White's knight at some point wants to occupy that beautiful outpost on e4 that we highlighted a moment ago. Looks great. But yeah, what do you guys think?
I think that this is great for White. I mean, my opinion really hasn't changed. I mean, I really do love your plan of just looking at the black knight on a6 and just saying, what are you going to do about that piece? And then getting on with the ideas. You mentioned as well putting the rook to the open line, introducing the knights into the game. I mean, this just looks like he can... this almost looks like the position can play itself, actually.
Spoiled for choice, but that is not good for the clock. Down under 6 minutes now. When you have too many options, it's easy to kind of just mull them over, overthink them. Giri just has to trust his instincts. He's got such good instincts. One of the most talented youngsters that I've ever faced, Giri. And yeah, he just needs to push a pawn or bring his knight to the center, switch his rook over. They're all strong. Why not just play one of them instantly, save the time for later?
Yeah. Is he a very emotional player? So if he does have a few bad results, it will affect his play.
Yeah, he's good at keeping kind of a kind of happy facade, like
joking.
Yeah,
and
he's got quite a bright
bantering.
disposition in general, quite a positive guy. But then, yeah, occasionally things do affect him. I think, which is natural for any chess player.
I always get the feeling with Anish that he can pick himself up.
Yeah.
You know, there's a few people who just, when they hit the floor, you know, it's very difficult for them just to build themselves, to big themselves back up again. But Anish somehow, you know, it feels like he gives himself maybe 5 minutes of feeling like sadness and very depressed. And then he's like, OK, right, move on to the next game.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we do see that he doesn't quite clear the emotions on the board because we see certain things, like, for instance, here, he's taking his time. He's perhaps feeling some tension because he's gone through many games without winning, and that creates some kind of internal pressure. And when the win happens again, when he wins this match, then he will just be able to
Domino effect. That's what domino effect is.
Yeah,
what
you know,
he's
just
hoping
like
for.
the shoulders can relax and the tension can just dissipate.
Yeah.
And
He never goes on long losing streaks, Giri. Like other players, when they tilt, they'll lose many games in a row. For Giri, it's just the killer instinct's the first thing that disappears. So he's still an amazing player. It's just can't finish things off. So maybe some drawing streaks here and there. But
Yeah.
yeah, he's coming back in this game, in this day.
And he goes for another plan, which is just to relocate the knight over to the right side of the board. And whilst it's Hans' turn to figure out what to do, we do have a selfie competition where we're asking you guys at home to tweet a selfie that will impress our David Howell. And the winner will get David's course, Grind Like a Grandmaster, that he did with Magnus Carlsen. It's an amazing prize. And Ranjith Pillay says he's watching from India, watching the live chess and learning some French defense, even at midnight. That's dedication, David.
I
Does that
approve.
impress you?
Yeah, anything, I mean, studying chess after midnight, that's the best time. That's when it really soaks in. I recommend, you know, running a bath, lying there,
Oh, that sounds
watching
nice.
a chessable course or reading a
David,
book.
you did say at the Olympiad you were having 2-hour baths every day?
Every night,
Every night. And I was like,
without fail.
were you not a bit wrinkly?
I was like a old grape, prune, just.
Yeah, sitting in the bath all wrinkled up. But 2 hours is a long
2
time.
hours.
though,
What were you
yeah.
doing? Meditating?
I was chatting to friends on the phone. I mean, my laptop was dead, so I couldn't prepare chess. I was just sitting there, sometimes with a book.
Yeah.
Yeah, just loving
I
life.
have to say, I also got my best run of chess was in the bath as well. It
Tell
was-
us this story, Simon.
Well, when I was younger, I just had a puzzle book, like a chess puzzle book, start finding checkmate. And I used to just have a bath every day, and I'd just try to do some puzzles in the bath. So after the period of like 3 months, I'd done the book, and my rating shot up.
Wow.
So actually, yeah, from doing half an hour in the bath every day, I became much better player. So baths is the way forward.
Here
yeah?
we
So
are
it's,
trying to solve this game. And it's that simple. Have a bath every day.
learn in the bath. Yeah.
I'm a
Well, what-
Scorpio, I need the water.
I mean, Ivanka, did you
Word
learn
of
from the
warning,
bath?
Word of warning. I tried this technique once. I fell asleep. The book fell into
Oh,
the
no.
water. And I woke up and I was like, whoops. So, yeah, not for everyone.
Bathtubs aren't easy to come by, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's true.
But, OK, meanwhile, the position has changed slightly. And, OK, the evaluation bar not liking what Anish has done. I still think it's OK for white, but look at that knight next to the white king. That is one passive piece, and he shouldn't be having any passive pieces right now, Anish Giri.
Not sure about this position. I know you're both very confident about Anish's chances, but I really didn't like his G4, and it seemed a bit funny. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't mind black here at all.
Yeah, I liked his G4, Anish, but I don't like what he's done with his two knights. White's knights are passive now, and Hans trying to break out.
Well, he's gone far too passive. I mean, just white's king is a little bit loose now, definitely.
Yeah.
Black's bishop, dark square bishop is beautiful. He's got an open G5. It's dangerous, I think, for Anish.
Do you
is
feel
he
he's
even
been-
better?
Yeah, good question.
I'm not even sure he's better now. I mean, he's a pawn up, yeah, but what can he do? He's got to try to get through this bishop at some point, and I don't know if he can do that.
This bishop, right?
Yeah, this
Looks
bishop.
like on his screen, Anish, he was about to bring his rook over, but he's overthinking. He's not trusting his instincts. He was about to play it within a couple of seconds, and now 30, 40 seconds later, he still hasn't made this move. You mentioned getting past this bishop. Is his idea, for example, after a pawn capture, Is he going to sacrifice maybe at some point to try and break through? For example, okay, he has played this move. I guess another idea might be to just slide the queen across to this diagonal. Here it works extra well because you're hitting the knight in the process, and after the knight is defended, you could, for example, just capture this bishop. And due to this pin, black can't take back, you win a piece. So still some ideas, some tricks Anish has up his sleeve. But of course, Hans won't fall into that kind of... it's not very well disguised, that trick. Hans will spot that, and he runs away with the bishop. Hans is playing recklessly fast, I would say. He actually played really well. He's outplayed Giri since that disastrous opening for black. But why play this move so quickly? I mean, there are alternatives. You could start kind of doubling up your rooks on this file.
That was his best piece. I mean, we were just talking how strong the bishop is, and he's just moved it away from the best square. So, I mean, it might be OK, because you can improve your other pieces, but it's not really what you want to do. And on the other hand, Anish is closing up on the queen side, which is also a little bit strange, I think.
Now it's all going to switch to the king side, where both of the kings are sitting right now. I like Hans's potential plan of maybe bringing his knight to this square. If he can park his knight on this square, he's going to kick away the white rook from its outpost, and all the pieces will gravitate towards that white king. Meanwhile, Anish, he's... I don't know really what he's doing with this kind of pyramid of pieces, but it looks nice-ish aesthetically. I'm not sure whether it's effective. The knight is coming round, meanwhile, to try and kick away this white rook.
Hans is playing so quickly, though.
So quickly, too quickly, if anything.
Yeah, I feel like the position is incredibly complicated, and Hans is just belting out the moves, second after second. And
there are ideas such as taking this pawn. I'm not sure whether that works or not, but Hans should at least be spending a second calculating. Instead, Anish just gets rid of the black knight.
I guess Hans is going for just a blockade on the dark squares now. I mean, I thought he could maybe push for a little bit more than this kind of thing where he's just trying to stop Anish getting through anywhere.
Yeah, take with the queen.
Yeah, I mean, it still seems OK for black, much better than it was, that's for sure. But again, it's a strange game, this one, I think. Very strange game. Yeah.
Strange stuff happening. Anish trying to take all the risk out of the position again. Whether that's reducing his own winning chances, who knows? But Anish definitely hates risk in this tournament. And he's just trying to trade off all the remaining rooks. Hans says, nope, I'm going to go the other way. Hans wants... It looks silly, but he wants to open up.
I wouldn't be able to predict many moves in this game. Sometimes, you know, you can play predict the move, and I'm struggling to predict what they're going to play next.
I think we would have predicted about 10% of the moves in this game, and those were just the opening moves.
OK, knight e2. Is he going to try to get a knight to the centre?
That makes the most sense to me.
But then black can break on the queen side, so...
Yeah.
But, I mean, yeah, that knight not doing anything, let's get it over, would be, you know, a beautiful square in the middle of the board that Dave has highlighted there.
Yeah. Talk to your pieces. White's knight is the worst piece.
Yeah.
Improve it. No, he improves his bishop instead.
Didn't predict that one. OK. A6. Can we get one prediction right? Is he going to push the pawn in front of the rook?
I predict Hans will move in less than 30 seconds. I don't know what move it will be.
Come on, you've got to predict a move. Yeah.
I agree. I think, I mean, the only justification for putting black's rook back in the corner is to push the pawn in front of it, open up that rook.
So will we get this right?
I think he's going to actually move his queen to the f4 square.
OK.
Ooh,
Let's
10
see.
seconds.
10 seconds.
Oh, no.
I know, you might even get that prediction.
I didn't even get that prediction.
Yeah, this is like...
First time in the last 10 moves he slows down, and it's the most simple decision.
Well, I'm sure they can hear us, and they're just like messing with us at the moment.
Yeah.
But so
He made complicated moves that require calculation in like 3 seconds, Hans. And then the one time he has like a logical, consistent plan, he slows down.
He slowed down. No, we got that wrong as well. OK, now let's see. He's going to move the rook. Yeah, OK, come on. Please just get that right.
Where though, Simon? He's definitely moving his rook that's
Don't ask me
attacked.
difficult questions. To pin the bishop. Let's go for that. I'm going to go for that. OK, he's got to pin the bishop with his rook, surely. Come
He's
on.
going to slide one square to the right. I'll say it's slide one square up to the right.
Yeah, I think
okay.
up the board.
It's got to go to one of those two squares.
Actually, I don't think it's going to go up the board. I think that might be a mistake. Oh, I don't know.
OK, I mean, too late now. So you've gone up. Okay. I've gone right. Where are you going, Ivanka?
Well, OK, maybe I should actually...
Slide. Do you think to the left? It's...
Yeah.
I mean, pinning the bishop seems natural, no?
Yeah, you're right,
Yeah,
Simon.
I don't know. I mean, like,
pinning looks...
Create some threats, maybe?
I don't know. Somehow I'm a bit worried that the rook is not doing that much.
I mean, he's spending
Yeah,
too
OK,
long.
let's just say Just pin the bishop.
Pin the bishop. You've got
Clock
2
is-
minutes.
yeah.
2 minutes.
Worrying for Giri.
Yeah, move.
Feels like a hustle. Niemann,
Yeah.
it's like he's playing in, I don't know, Washington Square Park. He's just hustling Giri on the clock. He's like, come on, man. Come on, man. I'm going to play faster than you. I'm going to play trickier, more unexpected moves than you. And it has been working.
Oh, David, you got it right.
Oh, we have a dance.
I don't know why. It's not a good move, but
We have the David victory dance. So I like it. Can
we
you
got
just show,
one move right.
Can you show those moves again, David? I missed most of the
Maybe
start.
later, Simon. I'll show you on the dance
We
floor.
have it recorded. We can watch it again
Good.
and again and again.
I realise that. Yeah. Get tricked here by that. Yeah.
Because we did also record Simon dancing
did.
yesterday.
You can put them together.
Yeah,
Oh,
like a little
man.
music video. Maybe we can even show the viewers what we put together of Simon
It was really...
dancing yesterday. What was the name of the dance? The big box, small box?
Yes, I don't know.
Do you want to do it again for us, Simon?
No. But Jovanka, you know the moves now. Come on, Jovanka. Can you do the big box, small box?
I don't remember it, Simon.
Oh, come
big,
on.
big threat on the position, though.
Okay, there was a big threat.
There is a big threat. And Hans has to do something about this. The rook was
goes
threatening to come to the G8 square.
This queen was undefended. It's actually a mistake from Hans in this position. He pushed his queen forward 1 square. The white queen slid across, and the queen went back. So Hans has just lost 2 moves. The threat, as Jovanka mentions, for example, if black had pushed a pawn, is to jump out of the way, discovered attack. This is a check. Throw your rook on the fire in order to open up an attack and win the black queen, just gaining time with that sacrifice. So black's queen actually went back.
Just finding the move's very mysterious from Hans, especially Dave. I mean, moving the dark square bishop over to that square, why? Not sure.
It was a 1-move threat. He was attacking his opponent's rook. He made another move, kind of 1-move threat. He attacked his opponent's rook.
Yeah.
He went back. He's just losing time.
Yeah.
It's as if he's literally in the park playing blitz, just hustling. Yeah. He's making threats, setting traps, but Giri's spotting them. And, OK, now he goes back. Now it's surely time soon for the white knight to activate. OK, first the queen comes out.
Push the pawn now, surely.
Yeah.
Come on, you gotta do something.
Simon, you're predicting this one. Will we get another prediction right?
Come on.
It's got to be...
No,
No.
of course not. Makes sense.
You've got to
sense,
carry
doesn't
on
it?
with the one move threats, but it's a good move because it activates the light square bishop.
This looks like a nice move. I approve.
Yeah.
At least the bishop has a good square it's coming into here. So
White's rook or queen are the targets. So Giri, he's getting ready to move his queen out the way. He's going to step it back, so the rook has a square to retreat to. Giri, I think he's feeling the pressure, you know. Just something about Giri's play. He clicked on a different square. He nearly made not a mouse slip, but a blunder there. And, OK, he chose a good square for his queen, a safe square, but just judging by those... I mean, I've been there myself, you know, when I'm clicking on squares and I'm like, oh, no, that's wrong, and then I change my mind. That shows nerves.
shouldn't it be click a piece, move a piece?
Yeah, touch piece move, yeah. I mean, he clicked on the queen. It's just he was going to put it on the G3 square originally. Then he kind of, maybe it was just a misclick.
And what about this move?
Didn't predict it.
Didn't predict it. I thought he was going to attack the rook, but OK.
It seems like a less aggressive square than the one it could have moved to.
And maybe Anish had that rook retreat in his mind and so decided to play it. I mean, I also a bit baffled. But maybe he has some ideas of attacking the queen himself.
I'm not sure why he's not pushing that rook's pawn, though. I don't know. I mean, if you could get the black rook around the back now, you could think about winning this game as black even. I mean, why not?
Yeah.
I don't see why not. If the black rook can magically get into white's half of the board, then, you know...
Maybe that's his plan.
Well, he's moved the queen in.
Didn't predict that either.
No, it's really hard to predict.
He's attacking an important pawn, though, the white C pawn, so on the same line that the black queen's sitting on. It's under fire. It's not that easy to defend.
This is a good move, I think, actually. You know, it's a similar idea to trying to get the rook in.
Black's king can defend itself. Those two black bishops actually are doing a great job of covering any entry squares that white's rook or queen want to use. Suddenly, maybe the change of pace as well. Giri, he's been manoeuvring around, improving. Suddenly, he has to take steps back. Yeah, maybe this change of pace will affect him. And, OK, I'm not sure whether you should grab it, but black's queen can go and grab the white A3 pawn. It looks like it's the wrong side of the board. I'm not sure he'll want to do that, but...
It's kind of position where I would be very tempted to move that pawn in the centre.
Yeah.
I'd be looking at it. I mean, bid for freedom. My rook might be able to come in. OK, he hasn't done that, but it's the kind of move where you can, if you can jump to freedom, get your bishop, your rook in the game, it's like, you know, maybe worth a sacrifice of one pawn, you know?
You're right, Simon. Just free up this bishop. Instead, the players are racing ahead. So he did grab this pawn. He did get greedy. And now the white queen moved, and he came back. So his idea surely at some point is to break this side of the board open, hands. But in the meantime, can Anish get any action going towards the black king? This, he would love to somehow, just like you said, free up the bishop.
Oh, look.
Wow.
I was going to say
move.
this is the way forward, right?
He's attacking the black bishop. He's hoping, OK, the rook can't be captured by a pawn due to a pin here. He's hoping that there'll be a capture and that suddenly he can threaten checkmate, break through on the light squares to that black king.
It's a great move. I mean, I love that move from
Aggression.
Anish.
That's what we want to see from Giri.
That's
We don't want to see him taking passive decisions.
Yeah.
Yeah, we love it.
But how effective is it, though?
Maybe the black rook can just come across. Maybe
Calm
this would
as you like.
kill all the fun, because
Yeah.
now white's rook cannot take the black bishop due to a nasty checkmate. The black rook defends the black queen, and the king is trapped. Maybe this is a calm defense. In the current position, what else? You don't want to move this bishop out the way. I don't think you can really consider taking this. Even if you can kind of block any potential checkmates, you'll always kind of get punished on the light squares later. It's so scary right now for Hans. I think this is the move that I would play without too much thought. I think just try and trade off those rooks. Maybe white just leaves it, though. Maybe white just doesn't react because there's still a pin along this H-file. Suddenly, the black king is the target.
It's got very interesting, this game now. I mean, this position is really jumped to life with, you know, the black king is in danger, but that queen is right into white's guts there, causing some issues. So if black can unravel, black could win this game.
Wow.
Yeah.
Can he unravel, though? I like David's move. It's a nice move to play. Has he played it? Yes.
No, yeah, he's gone for it. In fact, this and actually capturing the rook were the only two ways for black to survive this position.
Yeah.
And here, can you guess what the computer's saying? It's like 0.00.
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah, it's
Raw.
stupid computer.
Yeah.
So,
So complicated. OK, the rooks are off the board. I don't think that's a great sign for
Ooh.
Giri, to be honest.
why is he? I mean, he's going for the queen exchange now. So
And now the bar is shifting sides.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Hans could
Negative
win this.
decision. It's a passive decision. Giri, it seems like when the clock ticks down, his instinct, his nature is to just try and draw, just try to get the queens off. He is in the lead in the match, so we can understand it now. But yeah, I mean, he's missed opportunities in the past due to this.
But in fairness, it is understandable because if we were to look at the whole momentum of the game, you know, he was much better, then he was a pawn up, and then somehow or other he's found himself defending this position, and then the instinct now is, OK, I've lost control, let's just trade off, let's just begin again, just kill the game.
He's begging for a draw if the queens
Yeah.
come off the board. Only black can ever win that game, win that position. Maybe he will draw because white's is so blocked. White does have the knight which can jump around and cover all the holes, but...
I mean, also there's an argument for Hans to keep the queens on the board because his queen is quite active. You can put it in the corner, keeping the knight pinned, and try for the maximum from the position. I mean, I don't know what I'd do. I don't know if I'd exchange and
tricky,
just
right?
try to play, or maybe play for this A6 break first again. I'm a bit addicted to this A6 break for some reason.
You really
but
want to change the pawn structure on that left side, right side?
I would love to do that because then the endings will be great for me if I get the opportunity to exchange queens in the future. So, but he's kept. I mean, the simple option. This move has been very tempting for a while to free the dark square bishop.
Yeah, and his idea as well is to win white's pawn, so it's not actually a pawn sacrifice. Now, this white pawn in the middle on the E3 square is going to get gobbled up by black's dark square bishop on the next move. Black's dark square bishop is going to take that pawn. The structure's changed. Also, look at the centre. Black's king has a path in the dark squares into the middle of the board. I fear for Giri's life here. Maybe it's a fortress, but...
I think if white just moves the king, it's
waits.
going to be very hard for black to do anything now.
Maybe black's king kind of goes all the way over to the left side of the board. You
nice
push
idea.
that pawn that you wanted, Simon.
Nice
then
idea.
the black king comes back. We're in for another long grind.
Yeah.
It's the theme of
Nice.
the day.
I have to mention, you guys, we have had two big results inside the arena here in Game 3. Magnus Carlsen just won Game 3 against Liam Lett to take the lead in that match, putting Liam in a must-win situation in Game 4 to take it to tiebreaks. And Pragnananda, the other player, on 9 out of 9 points after the first 3 days. A win against Levon Aronian, and that was a quite quick one, actually, in Game 3. So Levon Aronian also must win in Game 4 to take it to tiebreaks. It's going to be a very intense round 4, and the bar is to Firouzja's side. I've been looking at that bar as well, and Firouzja and Duda, they are tied before this Game 3. So a lot of drama about to happen in the Miami arena.
Yeah. And
What's
talking
this
about
move?
drama, I mean,
What is this
I'm
move?
just absolutely shocked by this move. I mean, that pawn is by itself,
100%
no
agree.
defense.
Why move that pawn? Why on earth move that pawn? I don't understand it.
That being said, the computer does stockfish there. We see 3 move suggestions. Only one move takes advantage of this mistake from white, and that is for black's light square bishop to park itself on the edge of the board. To be honest, that's quite a natural one. The black king is coming towards that white pawn.
I mean, I think, I mean, you want to. Your opponent's moved a pawn. It's now unprotected. It's protected a pawn. We try to take it. Let's move our king. Let's take it.
Yeah.
Then we're a pawn up with a. Why this move?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
He was just scared of sitting there. This is actually a theme in the tournament as well. Nobody wants to just sit there passively and defend. They want to be active defenders, and normally that's a good thing, but it has led to mistakes, and Hans does find the best move.
Yeah.
Freddie no mates there. The f-pawn is just going to drop.
He is, yeah. The king's just going to come and take it. That means Hans is going to be a pawn up. He had that horrible opening as well, and he's going to be a pawn up. He's going to have the 2 bishops. He's got all these little advantages, and if he can do something on the queen side later, he's probably going to be winning this game.
Yeah. And Anish putting his knight to the side of the board. Presumably he has some ideas of jumping that knight to the f5 square, but I mean, just take a look at this beautiful move. You know,
It's getting worse, isn't it?
It is. You know, it's now the c4 pawn that's under attack, and if that one falls, then more are to come.
It's like a pack of cards. It's like a house of cards right now. One just flick, one of the pawns disappearing, and the house is going to collapse for Giri.
How are you even going to defend it? You can't. You just have to go on the counter-attack.
Yeah.
But even then,
One move threat.
it is just a one-move threat, and you can defend against that one very easily. It's really, really bad news for Anish.
Anish, I mean, he's going to be kicking himself so much after this game. I mean, he should have been winning, really, by just keeping it under control. Then he had so many... I think David put the nail on the head. Indecisive. Yeah. He's been very indecisive a couple of times. And this pawn push as well, that was just a sign of nerves, which made another mistake. And, you know, the last game now is going to be really tense with Hans having the white pieces.
Yeah, so he attacked the black bishop, but look at black's dark square bishop just defends everything. And, OK, this is a check from Giri. Is he really going after black's pawns on that side of the board with the white knight? Well, looks like the wrong direction.
I guess he has to.
He has to try. And now, I mean, the black king, I would just start taking that f-pawn off the board. There we go. Black's king is going to march into the centre. Black is essentially playing with a free piece, an extra piece.
Yep.
And going to be playing with an extra pawn.
Yep.
This one's just gone for Giri. No chance. And it's not just those kind of indecision, the indecisive moments. It's every mistake has been trying to swap the queens off, trying to go passive, trying to force a draw. It's playing for a draw. It just never works. I've lost so many games myself playing for a draw. I'll lose lots of games in the future playing for a draw. You just have to play aggressive.
Yeah.
You never play for a draw anymore, David.
That's because I lost too many games trying to,
exactly.
against, especially against strong players, or if I only needed that result.
But ironically here, you know, yeah, he played for a draw. He made lots of passive decisions, but it was that pawn move right at the end that kind of was the killer.
Yeah.
Well, no, the losing blunder.
Even without that pawn move, he was in for a load of suffering, for 50, 100 moves of suffering. So he kind of maybe wanted to shorten that suffering by taking a risk. It's understandable, it was a mistake, but I blame the early decisions, swapping the queens, swapping the rooks. Especially when you're facing the 2 bishops. I've said this many times, like when you're playing against the 2 bishops, you need to accelerate the play, you need to keep pieces on the board. The more pieces get traded, the stronger the bishops become, and black's bishops here are beautiful.
You know the good news about this? Surely we're going to get a Hans interview now. Surely. I mean, I think he's just threatening to win a piece, isn't he, with a check? Probably a very clever move, but...
Hans calculated this. Giri giving up his knight, deflecting away the... Oh, yeah, he has calculated it, of course.
Just a check, yeah.
The white king driven away, and next move, the knight falls. Hans takes the win.
Wow, comeback by Hans Niemann. He ties the match against Anish Giri.